lower extremities just
The
start coming out like
lower
this.
extremity
like a
coming out.
freaking needle, and it's like, dude, what are
Like,
you gonna do with that?
this
You gonna
man
put that
got
inside me?
That's what I'm.
Stop!
I'm
Stop,
sorry. Like,
please.
why are you pulling out your plasma cannon? I need you to
Yo,
calm down, bro.
stop,
You can't be doing this. That don't make sense.
What's clapping, everybody? Welcome to Anime Intervention. Here with my co-host Queen Bean. What's clapping?
Is good?
Here to talk anime, all things related. But today's episode, we actually got a pretty cool one here for old men in anime. But actually, I have a question that we're going to try and answer. What do you think is the most, or I say the best, powerful old man in anime? It's going to be a pretty deep conversation, I know. But we're going to start this conversation off right with the first one that I got, Master Roshi.
Master Roshi. Classic. Extra brolic for no reason.
Well, skinny, and then extra
Skinny,
for no
then
reason.
extra brolic for no reason.
Bro was literally looking like a twig, and then all of a sudden, like, bro got biceps like he's Dwayne Johnson or something like that. I'm like, dude, chill.
Yeah, you gotta be like in the WWE. Like, I need to get a contract, sign him real quick. But I think he is a classic, well-known, overpowered old man. Like, he's got it down pat with the, gray hairs and the bald head, and basically, oh yeah, I trained you, or like the main character, and I still stick around and show here now, like, I can still hang with these youngins. I still got it.
Bro, he still got it. He was in the tournaments.
Yeah.
And this is another thing that I actually wanted to bring up too, because like Master Roshi, he was in the first tournament that they do end up joining. He obviously trains Goku and Krillin, yeah. But in addition to that, right, he does join the tournament later on as I think it's Jackie Chan, right? I think that's his his thing where he has like the hair and everything, and his hair looks so cool. But I kept always saying Jackie Chan because I think he's Jackie Chan, but it's not Jackie Chan. But yeah, no, that and just being able to fight, on equal footing, and basically he's practically one of the most powerful people on the planet, humans at least, and comparatively to everybody else that he's fought before, and you got like the Crane School and all that.
Yeah.
He's definitely made a name for himself, but at the same time, he's starting to build and that next generation, which would be Goku and Krillin. So what I'll say is, now that we're gonna actually talk about this in a conversational light, right? The criteria for being a really great old man, powerful old man, influential to the story, influence,
Yes.
but also wisdom.
Yes.
And in addition to that, I think the power, you know what I mean? The absolute power. And this is where this conversation with Roshi gets a little bit complicated, because Roshi, later on, he actually does join the Tournament of Power.
Yeah.
Super. Not a big fan of the fact that he was in that tournament. I kind of want to hear your thoughts on it, because you did watch Super, right?
Yes, I did.
He joins the tournament, and realistically, he's not even close to the power level of anybody in Z.
Yeah.
Nowhere close. Nowhere close. He was obviously strong in the past, but like comparatively, why are you in the tournament? You know what I mean? There's obviously other people who are like, why are you in the tournament? I don't know. It's a little interesting, but he was still powerful in Ball. In Dragon Ball, he was still powerful.
He was still powerful. I think the main reason why is, well, obviously, you need a certain amount of fighters, but also he was a staple. Like, you're a staple fan of the franchise. They're gonna somehow relate him back to the whole shebang. What's going on specifically, like with, well, how the story is turning.
Yeah.
I do believe that he is definitely considered to be in one of these, old man GOAT conversations that I like to, include. Besides perviness, but like, we'll put that aside. But
I kind of have to put that aside. I know that he reads those magazines and everything, and he'd be kind of making all these comments, and his nose be bleeding like every couple seconds.
Yeah.
If he ain't flirting with launches, it's not Bulma. He's finding Bulma's panties or something like that.
Yeah.
It's obviously comedic relief, but at the same time, it's like there is some, I won't say realism, but you could see where his personality definitely fits within that category. It's like, oh, he still is powerful, but at the same time, he is goofy. At the same time, he can be relatable to some other people who may have a similar situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I can see it. I understand it. That's why he's in the conversation, though. Not because of the perviness, but because of the fact that he is, despite that side of him, he is still considered one of the greatest. We're gonna get to Jiraiya, but kind of like Jiraiya, because Jiraiya is perfect, but he is considered probably one of the greatest old men, powerful old men in all of anime, simply because of that fact, because because of his influence on the rest of the anime and the show. And and I won't say influence on the show throughout the entirety of Dragon Ball Z, and Super, and everything else. I'm talking about the influence on the characters that end up influencing the show. You know what I mean? He's
Yes,
the origin. He created the Kamehameha. You know, he did all that.
I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
he also influenced other characters in other, anime to be other curvy people. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but he walked so that Jiraiya and Sanji could run.
Sanji,
I'm gonna be real with
Sanji's
you.
included in this, but you know, you're right. You're right.
They
You're right.
definitely included. The man's he started back with the magazines, Then we got to Jiraiya. This man's over here writing the whole books.
Yeah,
They got a whole seminar. He literally teaching people like the ways.
yeah,
Then
that's
we get to
crazy.
Sanji, and Sanji's a student. He's a student to the game. Why? Because he almost died at damn Fishman Island. He almost died. Flew up in the air, blood spurting and everything.
Yo, oh, I forgot about that scene, bro.
Yeah, I
I
remember
forgot
that.
about that scene. How do you, how does blood squirt out of your nose so hard
Yeah,
that you end up lifting off? How do you take off from the ground?
Sanji not even an old man, and just became an old man just from that
Yo,
one scene.
yo, that's crazy. But yeah, yeah, Master Roshi, Master Roshi. He's definitely in the conversation. Who you got on your list next?
Ooh, I mean, there are a lot of old men. Honestly, we're talking about old men, but we also have old women as well in the conversation. Genkai is
It's in
a
there.
perfect prime example of that. Genkai
Oh,
from
Genkai from
Yu Yu
Yu Yu Hakusho.
Hakusho. Yes,
You know, it's been a
she
mad long time since I watched Yu Yu Hakusho, but Genkai was cooking.
she was cooking. She was just destroying, clapping up demons, clapping up everyone. Even when like she has that influence to the point where everyone knows her. Like I know back in the early episodes when they were trying to get her secrets for the spirit gun,
Hmm.
right, and how to use it. Like she's trying to teach it to one pupil or one apprentice, and she wasn't just going to give it up willingly, right? She was going to give it to the right person, and she could tell who had the necessary will to go and do that. She looked at Yusuke Urameshi and said, "Hey, I see some potential," but decided to get rid of that ego that he has. Like he has talent for fighting. He's good for fighting. He's like cocky in a way in the beginning,
Mm.
but then she realized, like, hey, this guy never worked hard in his life when it came to fighting. He never earned it. He only used his talent or like the fact that he's more physically capable than everyone else and said, hey, yeah, I'm the best. I'm that guy. But when you're, this shit, this bad, when you at the depths of hell in terms of like skill, you get to experience something that's great for sure. I'll give another prime example, Tsunade. Who she was clapping. Tell me I'm wrong. She was washing
She is
everyone,
another a woman who's definitely destroying.
definitely destroying everyone. Prime example.
I mean, she also looks really young. She mastered plenty of jutsu. I mean, she was probably the greatest medical ninja known to man. I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. If there's any other great medical ninja who might be on her level, but I believe she might be the greatest. Besides the fact that Sakura does step into her footsteps, right? But yeah, Tsunade is another great woman who I'd say does belong in the conversation with the old men. But the trend is what we've seen with the trend, right? Is that the old men tend to be the most powerful, tend to be the most like oh, you get into the room with them, you feel the aura just like emanating from their presence. You know what I mean? It's insane. And
I understand.
like let's speak for another one I know that you have on your list from Bleach.
Ooh, you talking about Genro Yusa?
Yep, Yamamoto. He got a middle name too, apparently. What's the real name, Dynasty? Yeah, the middle name was on the yo. Apparently, he got a middle name too. I didn't even know how to middle name. I was like, I thought it was just two names, but
I completely
I like the fact
forgot.
I just call him Yamamoto, yo, Yamamoto.
Yes.
But even him, like beside the fact that he got like one of those long ass beards.
He
He
got
got
the staple long ass.
hit me with the like the Harry Potter long ass beard and the fucking
Yeah,
Dumbledore and
I'm
everything.
like, bro, you what the fuck?
But when you see an old man like that, right, who's bald, has a long beard, the first thing that you're gonna say is that he's wise, right? The second thing that you're gonna say is that he probably knows more than anybody around. He probably knows everything there is to know about everything. And then he's also not a force to be reckoned with. Do not mess with this guy. If you mess with this guy, you're either gonna have problems with this guy or problems with everybody else around this guy. Yeah. He is one of the ones where you just don't mess with him, period. And he has a Bankai that literally can melt an entire battlefield. He is just that guy. So Yamamoto, in my opinion, does spearhead himself to the top of the list simply because of the fact that he has been in the Soul Society for the longest.
Yes.
He's probably the longest running Soul Reaper. What was it? He was leading it for like 1,000 years, something like that. Long time.
Long ass
Long
time
time.
for how I forgot how long it was.
It was a
Specifically,
long time, but he was beasting it. So just thinking about that and thinking about his fight that he had. I think he didn't he fight what's his name before. I'm not talking about Yawak. I'm talking about the other guy before that. Remember he fought
what are you talking about? Specifically?
Was it Ama guy?
Oh, you talking about that arc though?
I don't really like that arc, but I'm just saying
Oh,
like that's one of the not one of the few times, but that's kind of one of the few times you really see him really do much. You know what I mean?
but I was thinking referencing like the first time when well, you didn't really see the fight as much. Like you saw here and there, but like it wasn't like that serious. Looks like they were just testing each other.
Which fight though? You
Um,
talking about the
I'm talking about when he fought Captain Kiraku
yeah.
and also why am I forgetting his name? Long white hair. It's not coming to me right now.
Oh yeah. For what's his squad again? It wasn't the 13
Squad
squad.
13. Yes,
Yeah,
it
Squad
is.
13
Squad
squad. Yeah, 13
13.
squad. Yeah.
Um, yeah, both of them.
Ukitake. Thank you.
Ukitake.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Dynasty.
I don't know why. Forget, but like both of them were long staple Soul Reapers as well. Like they were underneath him.
He was the one who trained them.
Yeah, he was the one that
That's another thing. Influence right there.
influence exactly. You hone the next generation and let them become who they're supposed to be and fill them with promise and hope. But you also let them know like, hey, I will check your ass if necessary. I will do that. I can definitely say, yeah, for sure, he's one of the big staple old men that are extra overpowered.
Extra
Yeah.
overpowered, wise, and also influential throughout the series.
Yes.
And when he fought Yao, when he perished, that was a huge change in tide for the entire war. You know what I mean? Like everything changed. So his influence was definitely well stated, well known. Past that, we got we might as well start with we might as well do before we even get to Naruto. We might as well start with Whitebeard.
Yeah. Yeah. We can start.
New gate, man. Whitebeard. Honestly, it's hard for me to really say that this is not a contender for like best old man powerful being period because of the fact that he was never, I don't know if you know, well you do know this, but he was never going for treasure. That was never his goal. His goal was always to create his family, create a family for people to join and to love and to protect. Like that was Whitebeard. That was him. And then in addition to that, he wasn't part of the Rocks Pirates, I believe, right? He was
Yeah.
with them. He had fights with Gold D. Roger. Like this bro is influential. Once Gold D. Roger passed away, once he was not passed away, but once he got killed, Whitebeard was the strongest man in the entire world,
Yes. Yeah. I could
considerably
considerably.
the strongest man. Nobody wanted to mess with this guy.
Strongest man. No one really wanted to mess with him. The only person that could come close at that moment was between.
Was it Garp?
Yeah,
I'd say Garp.
maybe Garp, maybe Shanks, maybe that's really it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like besides obviously we get well later on to the story who else is gonna be powerful, but like regardless, the world figures could not.
Well, Kaido. Sorry.
Yeah, and Kaido too. But like those world figures could not fuck with him at all. Could
Not at
not
all.
contain him because when he came in, right? Even if you look at Marineford, it looked like they were about to win until eventually they saw, okay, well, Ace did some dumb. Like, let's be honest, he did some dumb shit, and it's like, okay, you really got triggered by a yo dad joke, which we should have never done that. We should just went away with them, like you would have been with your crew, nothing, too crazy, but like because he had such an impact on how the pirate world, Marineford, even just his presence alone was like just almighty.
He died standing up.
Died standing up.
After taking how many? I don't even want to go back to it. We already
Yeah.
have a clip for it, but he died standing up. You got something to say, producer? Say it.
You know how mad he must have been pulled up to heaven and then Ace comes right after him?
Yeah.
After all this
He's like, after all that I did,
Yeah, after all I did, you want to come up.
yo, bro. But and this is something that you were saying as well. We were talking about the fact that he wanted to cultivate a family. You could tell that he really did create a family because everybody loved this man, and obviously besides his enemies, but like his entire crew loved him. Besides,
Yeah,
smells
Squard
like
and Blackbeard.
smells like Judas. Smells like betrayal in here. But yeah, and Blackbeard. But yeah, no, I'd say Whitebeard's definitely like in terms of influence, in terms of wisdom, in terms of power, he's probably definitely at the top of the list for me. And we can continue forward and talk about who else is on this list and see if they stack up. But Whitebeard. Garp, obviously he's super strong, and obviously he's scrapped with the greatest.
Yes.
But I wouldn't say that Garp's influence. Um, Actually, you could say that Garp's influence does kind of mirror his in a way. But I do believe that Whitebeard does kind of etch him over a little bit simply because of where Whitebeard stands in the world. Because Whitebeard he's an emperor at that time. He was an emperor. He has influence over the entire world in that way. Garp was crazy. We already know Garp was crazy. Garp is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But his influence precedes him, and in addition to that, he wasn't really as much a part of the world in terms of leadership in the same way that Whitebeard was. He's a leader, but he wasn't on the same level as say like because he wasn't first of all he wasn't an admiral.
But he wasn't trying to lead anyone. That's what I'm saying. It's like
He wasn't. Yeah, exactly.
the main people he was trying to lead were people that were Marines of his honor and his code.
Mhm.
Like if you look at it, like we go back with when he took up Aokiji. Back in that day, he stood for, being a Marine, being honorable, trying to do good. The areas in line, make sure you protect citizens. He was very honorable. But even we go back earlier now, we see Kobe.
Mhm.
We see also Himepo, where he also brings them in. He's trying to develop and mold those guys into Marines that he wants to make like his sons.
Mhm.
And what do we see? Now we see Kobe over here popping a whole entire like rock fist like it's nothing. Like that Kobe impact. He gained some confidence when he realized, wait a minute, this guy is laying down his life to go and protect me, despite his status. We saw him punch a freaking didn't he punch a celestial dragon and act like it was nothing? Tell me I'm wrong. Didn't he do that?
You talking about? You talking
Did
about?
he punch or did he disrespect? He did
You
something
talking about?
to
You
us.
talking about Kobe?
No,
No, talking
no,
about Garp.
talking about Garp.
Oh yeah. I think
He did that.
something did happen. Yeah.
So he for sure has influence, but it's not the type of influence that I think garners towards leadership over an entire entity or like, the entire Marines. I think people respect him, and because of that, he just does whatever he wants because he likes the respect from the people that he respects. And
Mhm.
anyone else where it's like looks at him a different way or he just doesn't like, he'll just
mean,
say it flat out.
That's part of the reason why he didn't really wanted to lead any. I mean, he wanted to lead his own chapter, yeah, but he wasn't trying to move up in terms of the Marines because of the fact that he knew that they were kind of being played. You know, they were
Yes.
being controlled like puppets.
He knew.
So
Why do you think when he came back after, sorry, spoilers, but like after Ace died, why do you think he came back to the island where where what's her name? The Don was? Or I can't remember her fucking name.
Yeah, that's an name, right?
I think it was the Don. Yeah, with the orange hair. Came back and was like, "Don't interfere. I know this woman." Because he himself knew he was like in distraught. Like he was disappointed within himself that he didn't do anything or couldn't do anything to go and help Ace. That's how you know he stood for what he believed his moral code and what the being a Marine was compared to what it actually is right now. Plain and simple. I respect that.
Yeah, I'm with that too. Let's Garp. All right, well, that's One Piece. Let's talk about Naruto.
Ooh, let's get into it, bro.
Producer Iris over there did say Jiraiya. I believe that Jiraiya might be the biggest and best pick of Naruto. Now we could speak on some other names. We could talk about Hiruzen. We could talk about I don't even like Danzo, that guy. But like we could talk about a bunch of names in there that of old men who've actually influenced the game. Shit, even Orochimaru counts. I can't even think about this guy, bro. Yo, stop. I know that we want to talk about him. But he technically counts in terms of like powerful old man. It's just that I can't really say that he's the most influential. I would say this is tough. This is tough. We gotta talk about balance here. All right, let's talk about Jiraiya first.
Okay.
Let's talk about Jiraiya first, right? So Jiraiya, this is in his olden age, right? Pervy side aside, he trained two of the greatest ninja to ever live. That includes the fourth Hokage,
Yes.
and that includes Naruto.
Yes, he even had obviously his disciples in the Rain Village.
Yes, and those disciples as well. Obviously, they did end up turning.
Yeah, but like you had Yahiko, you had Nagato, and you also had Conan. But like, regardless of that, he had plenty of influence with it when it comes to his disciples. Clearly involved.
He is one of the legendary Sani.
Yes.
Right. He is known far and wide for his skill as a ninja. He is a sage. He trained Naruto not trained Naruto, but he had a hand in passing the torch onto Naruto for becoming a sage. Because remember, he wasn't fully there when Naruto became a sage.
That is True.
because
I
Naruto
don't
had to
think
go
he
back
was. Yeah.
with Fukusaku to learn how to become a sage,
Hmm.
right? So there's that. He sacrificed himself for the village.
For sure.
He fought all these pains by himself,
Mm-hmm. Getting folded by your own
by your own students. He got folded.
That's tough.
But his death led to the immense growth and potential of the greatest ninja to ever live, practically. So where do we put Jiraiya when we compare him to Hiruzen, who is the third Hokage, learned every single jutsu there is to learn in terms of the Leaf Village, and I believe even more than that. What else did he do? He fought Orochimaru, but in addition to that, he also fought the first and second Hokage reanimated. Not to, I mean, he does die. In addition to that, he technically won the fight because he stopped Orochimaru by sealing his arms. Or was it his hands? Arms, hands?
I think it was
the whole thing, right?
Yeah, the
His
whole thing,
arms.
because it was
With the Reaper Death Seal, right? Okay.
yes.
So now we're comparing these two. Danzo, fuck Orochimaru. Does Chiyu count? Does Chiyu count? Iris?
A Lady Chiyu, yeah, I think
Lady
technically yes, he does.
She can
Yeah,
count,
because
but at the same time, do I put her on the same level? Nah, not even close. Looking at this and having that perspective, who do we pick? And I'm gonna go around the room with this. All right.
Jiraiya.
We got Jiraiya and we got Hiruzen.
Jiraiya.
Okay.
Jiraiya.
We choose Jiraiya.
We choose Jiraiya because we're not looking at the wannabe granddad that absolutely did not give milk. I
Okay.
told you that. Lunch, dinner. That's literally what happened.
Dynasty, how do you feel? You feel Jiraiya or Hiruzen? Jiraiya, right? Iris? Jiraiya? Jiraiya.
No question.
Has a legacy before Naruto starts, but I mean, Jiraiya.
Jiraiya. It's insane to me how anybody could say that Hiruzen is over Jiraiya, but that is my belief. I believe that Jiraiya does have a bigger impact, bigger influence on the entirety of the show, but more than just that, the entirety of the world. I'm not trying to undermine Hiruzen's contributions and everything like that. I'm just saying comparatively, this is Hiruzen and this is Jiraiya. That's that. So in Naruto, I definitely put Jiraiya there.
Okay.
You agree?
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
Okay. What's next for you?
Next for me, I'm gonna go a little left here.
Far left?
Yeah. Somewhat.
I mean, with the world, the world right now, we might have to.
Yo, nah. That's a headache I do not want. I'm sorry, I refuse.
That's true. I ain't trying to have the comment section filleting us for no reason. Listen,
For no reason.
when prices go up, you talk to me.
Yep.
All right, let's continue.
Them eggs. Let's get into Makarov.
From Fairy Tail. Okay, so I like this because we could talk about Makarov's master as well. What was his name?
Oh yeah, Master Predator, right? Oh, really?
Wait, what was his name?
Master Prep.
Yeah. Predator. I was right.
Oh, so that is his name?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Was his name really that stupid?
What the hell? What the hell?
Correct.
I mean,
no, that probably is his name.
obviously you had
Just call him Hades because that was his name during the
Hades
during the
was-
whole situation with the But those are probably the two strongest old men that we could talk about. There probably are a few others like August.
Yeah, you could do August, but
what about the one who was in charge of that guild, the Sabretooth Guild? Does he count? But
no,
he
got wiped.
He got clapped.
He got absolutely wiped.
Natsu walked in there was good.
That and
completely dogged him.
You also had it was Sting that dogged the shit out of him.
Sting that dogged him?
Yes, it was Sting that.
I thought it was Natsu who dogged him.
No, don't you remember? He thought that Lecter died. He thought he vaporized Lecter, and he just punched a hole into his ass. You remember?
Oh yeah.
That man fucking him up so bad. I looked at him. I was like, "Damn, Sting! I didn't know you were like that. I thought you were calm and collected."
So what happened to when Natsu? Was that when Natsu broke in though?
That was after.
That was after.
That was after because he broke in, criticized him about how he's a terrible guild master.
Yeah.
Came out, and then afterwards, when they lost one of the rounds of the Magic Games to Fairy Tail, I can't remember which one it was, but they come back.
When the Dragon Slayers were fighting.
Oh, it was when the Dragon Slayers fight. Okay, so it was when they were fighting Dragon Slayers, Natsu, Gajeel, Sting, Rogue.
Yeah.
They come back.
They ended up losing, obviously, because Natsu destroyed them by himself.
And then out of nowhere, Master is like, "You're a disgrace. and vaporize like
Oh
their or
yeah, I
to
remember now. Yeah, yeah. Attempts to do it.
gets
Obviously, like to
washed.
survive, but he ends up getting clapped because okay, yeah, I remember
Yeah,
now.
that was hilarious.
Why would you do? Yo. There are some times where I just look at villains. I'm just like, what are you doing? What? What do you think's gonna happen? Like, are you dumb? Are you
Hey, you can't
stupid?
talk all that
Yeah.
fire and then get hit with a fireball, bro. Like,
And he's weak, and he should know his strength comparative to them. So why did he even? But anyways, back to talking to old men. Back to talking to old men. I don't want to talk about how this man's just. But
yeah,
Makarov, right, leader of Fairy Tail. He inherited Fairy Tail from his previous master. But in addition to that, he had influence throughout the entire world because he created the best guild to ever exist.
yes,
Fairy Tail was #1 guild. They don't even go down until they disappear. Everybody disappears for the 7 year 7 year gap, right?
yeah,
7 year. They're stuck in was it Temu Island?
yeah. Temur Island, they're stuck in there with
And
Acnologia, and
Acnologia,
then
yeah.
yeah, all
And
that.
they got protected by the island and all that. But yeah, like, so just looking at that, right? Makarov's influence does spread throughout the entirety of the world. He's powerful, really powerful. Literally cooks everybody. He cooks Natsu. He's super strong
Yes,
for his time and for his age. He's super strong, and he's the guild master.
yeah,
He has a special move called Fairy Law.
yes. He has fairy law, which is apparently taught to every single guild
Guild master.
master. Pret taught him that, but also Pret even had a version of fairy law that was, I believe, evil. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah. Hmm?
Grimoire
Well,
Law.
oh, Grandma
Grimoire
Law,
Law.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the one.
that's what it was. So we see how powerful he is with his magic. We also see the leadership that he has underneath his guild, or who he calls his kids, his
And they
grandkids,
respect him.
and they
That's the
respect
big
him.
thing. They
That's the thing.
respect him. Well, for the most part.
For the most part,
They
for the
do
most part,
respect
they
him.
had the rebellious phases here and there, but it was mostly Urza that respected him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandably so. Yeah, no, I'm with that. I'm with that. I believe that his influence is definitely greater than his previous masters in terms of just cultivating this powerful guild.
Mm.
And he's respectful, or he's respected, and he's powerful. So with that, he is at the top. Now, I will not put him on the same level as Whitebeard or Jiraiya, but he's definitely up there. You agree?
Yeah, I agree. I put him like a notch below slightly, but I do consider his words of wisdom to be a little better than sometimes Jiraiya and Whitebeard.
Okay.
It-
Yeah, that
I
can
can
make
agree
sense.
with that.
I can understand that. Okay, so that's Makarov. Now we're going on to do you remember Bang Silverfang
Bang Silverfang.
from One Punch Man? So
Hmm.
now the reason why I want to talk about this guy is because I believe he has influence on the show both positively and negatively. And now the reason why I'm talking about this is because of Garo. Now you're aware of Garo. You might not know too much about what happens later on past the point of his so-called transcendent of being of God and of galaxies and of everything.
Yeah.
You're not there yet
I'm not
because you
there
haven't
yet.
seen it. I've read it. It does get crazy. This bro is literally the galaxy practically. He's literally God. And with that fact in mind, Garo is Bang's student. Bang is an old man who is superiorly trained in martial arts.
Yeah.
He has mastered many techniques, and he's passed those techniques on to his student, right?
Yes.
He's done that. But in addition to that, he's also an S-class hero,
Yes.
right? He has saved countless people, and people know of him as probably one of the greatest masters to ever live, right? It's the truth, at least within the world. Now, there is one other master as well who I forget his name. He's another old man who is Bang's friend. Now, we could always, ask somebody to check on that, right? Because I've completely forgot to check on his name. But the other master who, he has he has longer hair, but he is another old man who, yeah, you got the name? Atomic Samurai.
Oh, you're talking about Song Samurai. Yeah. Yeah.
So there's Atomic
That's also
Samurai,
good.
another master. Those two, I believe, are the picks for that universe.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, some people look at Atomic Samurai, they're like, yeah, he's not a really old man, but I think he can be considered an old man in a way. Has that wisdom, has that strength, and then tries to, help even younger heroes.
Yeah, but I will definitely pick Bang. What I will say is that Bang's influence, even though I'm mentioning him now, it does not, it pales in comparison to the influence that other like Jiraiya and everybody else has on their respective universes,
Mm.
because he's an S-class hero, yes, but he's not at the top. I think he was like number, was he three? Three, right? He's not at the top. He has say in a lot of what's going on, but he does not have complete say. obviously the controllers, all the people in the council and everything like that. And in addition to that, he has created probably the worst villain, though the most powerful villain from what we've seen. From in the anime, if y'all have read it, you know what happens. But like from what we've seen, there's problems coming. This bro is a problem, and that's his student.
Yeah.
Kind of along the same lines as Jiraiya, kind of just he just created pain, but at the same time, it wasn't all him, But that's his student. That's his student. So yeah, I just wanted to mention Bang. I don't know if you agree with him just being mentioned.
I can agree with him being mentioned. Do I think he's, in that conversation like top 3, top 5? Most likely not, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, no,
But
I'm with you.
I can definitely see him as like, an old, strong anime figure. So yeah.
Gotcha.
Either.
Okay. All right, what you got next?
What I got next, I know you remember this. Oh, actually, do you remember this? Cousin Yoshimura. Do you remember the old man from Tokyo Ghoul? Yeah,
Wait,
Yoshimura.
the owl?
The owl.
Oh, the owl.
The owl.
The owl.
The
Bro, I
owl.
did not know. I mean, to be fair, nobody did.
No one did
Nobody
because
knew.
he was so subtle with like how he, carried himself, and he was like, trying to provide wisdom, little coffee shop, make sure temperaments are like, to a low. He had wisdom, he had information, he had influence, he
And he was
cared
powerful.
about people. Plus, there's the fact that he had that dog in him. I'm gonna be honest with you, because that dog didn't come out until it got like threatened,
That's true.
right? And then he started to like, just tear up and then just clapping with everyone on the agency as well. Like they had to, I forgot what the term was called, what they used to amplify themselves, because like they obviously kill some of the ghouls and take their powers
Yeah.
and used it. You had multiple people fighting him at once when it came towards the end,
Yep.
and he was definitely strong.
He was strong as hell.
Yeah.
Powerful influence. What I would say is his influence is more like a shadow realm kind of influence.
Yes.
Because people obviously they're aware of who he was within his word of owl, right? But him being that kind of like the owner of this coffee shop and kind of taking charge, nobody really knew what was going on behind the scenes, obviously. So
Yes.
influence in that way wasn't necessarily there. You could tell that he had some sort of influence on the world. It's just on the other side.
Yeah, like you have that plus, the coffee was what the
It's what
ghouls
kept them.
used.
Yeah, it's what kept them sane. Honestly.
Yeah.
So.
Not craving flesh, not about to destroy everyone, but like you use that.
Wait, you got.
Oh yeah, Kaneki doing the cracking the fingers. Like I don't know why I picked that up from him.
I did, yeah, I low key did. I feel like a lot of people did. I feel like I see our producer doing it a couple times. I'm like, yo, Conic, you good over there? You want some blood?
Like I got a donation real quick.
Yeah, you want to
Chocolate. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, oh man. Yeah, why do we have a platform? That's a good question. But yeah, that's a good pick. I'll definitely he's up there, but he's not up there. Like he's probably on the same level as like Makarov, but maybe a little lower. I'm not too sure. Not too sure.
Okay.
But anime Jason, I want to talk real quick. Avatar. We're gonna talk about Iroh. Uncle Iroh.
Listen. I'm gonna be honest with you. If it weren't for the fact that we were going based off of like pure strength and like presence, if it was just purely just wisdom, that man is top.
Oh yeah,
the man is top easily.
If it was pure wisdom, he'd be the top of the top. I feel like he'd be literally at the peak.
Yes.
But don't undermine his power though. I feel like
oh yeah,
he probably could have been Fire Lord. I feel like he was stronger than Ozai.
Really?
Bro,
Wait, what?
Iroh literally took down like I think the walls of Ba Sing Se by himself.
I mean, he
bro
was that guy.
menace.
He was that guy, but like, I mean, better than Ozai?
Listen, man, I'm just saying. Like, I feel like
Yeah,
he could definitely been Fire Lord.
I mean, yeah, he definitely could have been.
He was
Fire.
the Dragon of the West. That's his name. If you get nicknamed the Dragon of the West, you are cold.
Yeah,
As a dragon, you are cold.
Name a dragon.
You know when fire is so hot it's cold? That's him. That's him right there.
The fire so hot it's cold.
That's exactly. Yeah. Think about that for a second.
I'm sorry, that's a bar.
That's a bar. That's a bar.
Gotta respect it.
Write that down. Because Iroh is literally that. The Tea-Meister. Like, he was wisdom incarnate. Impeccable wisdom. He knew exactly what to say, when to say it, and he kind of was the guy who basically triggered, I won't say completely triggered, but he is the one who set his nephew on the right path.
Yes, Zuko for sure. Like he had to come to some realizations, but
of course
that happened through.
That's necessary. That's part of him going through life and kind of experiencing things with Aang and understanding that things are a little bit different. him having the initial view that was kind of paved in him from Iroh is what caused him to have that change in the first place. It was initiated him starting to understand the different fields of view and then be like, okay, this is where it's at. I should be more like this. You know what I mean?
Yes, you can tell that he definitely wanted the best for him, and like for him to overcome his sense of like just straight anger and pure hatred. Like I get it. You want to reclaim your rightful place at the throne. You want to make your father, I guess, quote unquote, proud of you. But you got to realize something. One, you have to be ambitious for yourself, right? You can't just be doing it out of the sense of, well, I want my father's recognition. The fuck, your father. But you mean out of your father's recognition? Like
Yo,
get
dad.
your own. Feel happy and proud about who you are as a person. That's what he was trying to make him understand. Is that, and then stop being fueled by only your anger. It's not gonna work.
Yeah, I feel like every single time this bro Iroh talking, I'm like, yo, I'm about to take this wisdom and use it in real life, because
That's what I say.
because you over here spitting, my guy.
He taught me patience. Shoot, my goodness.
It's true. But yeah, Iroh, in terms of influence, he definitely goes up. In terms of influence, in terms of like you putting him aside with Ozai, you know, obviously it's a little different. Ozai literally put fear into the people.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But just of what he's done and what his history and his reputation, he obviously does go up there as well, for sure.
I'm bumping him up. I'm putting him.
He's got to be at least like he's within the top 5, but I'm trying to think if I should put him top 3. You know what I mean? But
Ooh.
tough choice. But you have any more, or you want me to go with the last 2 I got?
I think I have one more. Oh yes, I have one more. Now hear me out. King Bradley from Full Metal Alchemist.
King Bradley.
No, he definitely don't got the wisdom. I mean, he does in a way, like obviously, because when you look at villains, sometimes they spew or say something that may be actually like truthful in terms of like a hard truth to accept. But the thing is, because it's a hard truth, doesn't mean you kind of twist it and make it your own, as in justifying certain harsh actions. And that's exactly what he does. He's the epitome of I got a philosopher's stone infused inside of me, right? I've been raised to be good at hand-to-hand combat and swordsmanship specifically. He became cold-hearted and purely strong just from how he was raised and then getting the philosopher's stone infused in him. And then out of nowhere, he like you can see how he viewed the humans as literally nothing but cannon fodder, even though at one point he was one. So like it's kind of crazy where he just looked at life like it can just be taken away in 2 seconds, and he took it
In 2
and
seconds.
said in two
Well, to
seconds.
be fair, it was less than a second.
Well,
But yeah, right.
I'll give you a prime example. When they first interacted with Greed and they saw like that homunculus and then the chimeras that were around him. Greed, he actually liked the people that were around him, even though he put up a front and said, you know, like, oh, all I care about is fame and woman and power. He actually cared about the people that were around him. You see him he gets I believe like destroyed, and then another Greed comes back in this place when he Ling, his body gets taken over by Greed,
Yeah.
but his old memories start to come back. We see that sentimental part from him. From your boy? Hell no. Hell no. He out here, he stabbed a chimera in the middle of Al's body. As Al was holding a person in it. He's like, nah, you gotta go. Let me go and stab you between the grooves of the armor. And then the blood flushes out, and he's over here terrified. He's not phased.
Not phased at all.
Not phased at all. He even gave a fuck about his own wife. The hell? Nah. He was cold.
Powerful, influential.
Influential because he had the whole scheme of the whole government.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously he wasn't behind everything, but he was definitely the face and of the military, of the alchemists, and manipulating everyone in a way.
Yeah.
As like the front, the service. Underneath, now that's a whole nother topic.
It's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation. But for sure, he's definitely one of those strong, powerful old men in anime.
Worth mentioning. Definitely.
Worth mentioning.
Definitely worth mentioning. Okay. All right. You remember Hunter x Hunter? So it's been a while since I watched it.
Yeah.
Okay. But one thing that I'll never forget was your boy Netero. Homie, first of all, this guy trained every day. He did 10,000 punches a day. A day.
That's discipline.
Is there even enough time in the day to do 10,000 punches?
There's got to be. There's really
not, not for me.
not
Not
for
for
me
me.
either.
Bro, I could barely do 100 in a what? 10,000.
You talking about
Bro,
punches? I'm like with perfect form and everything. I'm like that
yo,
man's sweating.
crazy. But the big thing here, right, is that he was kind of one of those underdogs. Cool. One of those underdogs that you kind of just didn't really see coming until at the last moment. When he was really putting in the work for Meruem, the bug,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and he was fighting him, and he was basically fighting to a standstill. And even at the end of all things, he gave his life to put a dent in this fight. Obviously, he knew he wasn't going to take him with him, but he knew that he could at least do something, and that's what he did. I believe it was a bomb in his heart. If I'm correct,
I believe so. Yeah.
it
It
was a
was a
technique that
technique
turned his
that
bomb to a heart, something like that. Yeah. So like he had influence, and he influenced the entirety of that show for going forward because the world would have been done, bro.
yeah
That would have been it.
would have been it. They would have taken over, probably destroyed all of like the cities and invaded, but
It would have been over.
stopped them in their tracks. He actually did a good deed.
And then I forgot the other old man's name. I can't remember his old name. Do you know?
Oh, the one from the Zoldyck family?
Yeah. What was his name?
I forgot
I
his
forgot his name.
name. Well,
This is how you know I haven't watched in a mad long time. It's been like at least 15 years
he
since I
was
watched the
cold
show.
too.
But he was also cold.
Yeah, because you had him obviously, then his son that was with the long hair, and then you had your boy. He was kind of like just cold blooded as well. Like they all had Zeno.
Zoldyck.
Zeno. Okay, yeah. Because Killua gets that from him.
Yeah, he does.
He definitely gets that from him and like his family, like that sense of like, oh yeah, I will flip the switch real quick and destroy your ass within 2 seconds,
Literally though.
just cause.
But yeah, nah, man. I want to go back and rewatch Full Metal Alchemist and Hunter x Hunter simply because it's been like at least 10 to 15 years since I've seen it in its entirety. I've actually done, and I keep telling you this, but like every couple of years I'll do a rewatch of like the big three, and it'll be kind of like a skim through rewatch where I'll watch obviously the best moments and all that.
Mm,
But I have to do the same thing with them because I kind of want to, see that greatness again. Experiencing it for the first time was definitely an experience. It was so good.
yes.
Sometimes it never leaves you. But I do have one more old man to talk about before we actually close out for this section here.
Okay.
Um, you've been watching Solo Leveling,
Yes.
so you're very familiar with Gung Hee, right?
Oh, the head director of
Yeah, his name. I think his name is Gung Hee. Yeah, he's the head director of Korea's basically the defense force for the entirety of Korea.
Mm.
That bro's a problem, and I know that they do kind of hint at it in the show in the anime because of the fact that um, when Cha she senses Jinwoo's presence,
Yeah.
right? It's not Jinwoo that she was sensing. She thought she was sensing Go's power.
Mm.
You remember that scene when he was at the mining scene where he was coming out from mining and she was going in with the full group
Yeah.
of hunters, and she was like, "Wait a minute, I thought I sensed the chairman." You're not sensing the chairman, you're sensing him. But Sun Jiwoo's already powerful as hell. So
Yeah.
you know what that means?
That
That means that he's a problem.
that means he's a problem.
That means clearly he's a problem. But in addition to that, bro, there's some other stuff that happens behind the scenes. If y'all have read the actual manual, the webtoon, you'll be familiar with his connection to the powerful entities of the universe. He is indeed one of those guys that are so impactful and so powerful that it's hard to even say. And he's old too. He's old. Imagine him in his prime.
I know
Imagine him
how
in his
it
prime.
is.
It would be over.
Telling you, some of these old men and women in their primes,
They'd be a problem.
they be an absolute issue. They be caving in people like left and right, making them look stupid, making them rethink their whole entire occupation. Like, why are you in this show? They literally say, like, why are you here? Why are you challenging me? Like, just from their actions, just yeah, you gotta take a break. You gotta head out. You gotta retire. Like, don't even think about stepping to me or improving yourself because it's over. It's over.
I do like the S hunters in Solo Leveling, and I like the fact that they already are aware of Sung Jin Woo's ability to grow and
Yeah.
just continue to grow. I believe in S ranks every hunter actually they don't grow any at all. They find out what they are, and then there's either a reawakening or that's it. You're stuck at A, you're stuck at S, you're stuck at E. You know what I mean? There's no going higher. Um, you're flatlined. So just seeing that and seeing the comparison between him and the chairman, it says both he's strong, chairman is strong, but in addition to that, Jinwoo's still growing. That's a problem. But yeah, and that's all the old men I got. So if I had this list and I had the conversation that we just had, if I had to pick the best, most influential old man in anime, and when it comes to the entirety of their experience and influence in the show, I'll tell you what I'll pick. This is gonna be a hard one. I'm gonna pick Whitebeard.
Solid.
Who are you picking?
I'm gonna go Jiraiya. I'm gonna go Jiraiya only mainly because when I think of Naruto, like as a show, obviously I think of the main character, but when I think of like someone that's like, an old soul, I think of him in a way. I think of him. I do think of Whitebeard as well, but I do understand why
I
you
kind of
pick
want to,
Whitebeard.
yeah,
I
like
understand.
I would have. Here's the thing. I would have picked. Here's my argument. I would have picked Jiraiya, but I want to say the influence that Whitebeard has had on the world, in terms of the continuing influence, it precedes himself, yes, but it also goes further beyond. Like it goes past. Obviously, Jiraiya's influence also goes past. But what I'm saying is, like, if you take Whitebeard, right, and you look at the fact that he is still an emperor, right, and he still has his land, obviously, and he still has his influence, he still people still fear him. Jiraiya, obviously people are still afraid of him, but yeah, but Jiraiya is a Sani, but he's also a wanderer. He's also like kind of, I won't say retired, but he's kind of doing his own thing. He only came back because he's trying to protect Naruto.
Yeah, I can
You know what I
I
mean?
can understand.
So that's my argument. It's kind of hard. I could say a tie, but like, because Whitebeard's death isn't the trigger to Luffy's growth. It's actually Ace's death. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Luffy's connection to Whitebeard was little more than just meeting his crewmates and then having them be like, all right, listen, we're going to save Ace together. Jiraiya's connection to Naruto is much more in depth, influential, and not only does it influence his further actions, but it does continue to impact the rest of the series because Naruto is literally the strongest because of what happened.
It became to the point where he noticed that people could actually die, could actually, be lost in his village, people that are very close to him. So once we get to that serious situation when pain comes to the village, like we even see obviously with the one time he hit Hinata, we're looking at like, oh no, is she about to die? And he ended up cracking and losing it. So that's kind of my reason why I chose him, because I realized how much of an impact it had on who he was and how he was mentally
Mm-hmm.
at that
No,
point.
that's good. Damn. Do I want to? Should I pass it around? Dynasty, what do you think? Tough choice. You gonna
Roshi,
take Roshi?
I can respect
See, I
that.
can respect that. I respect Roshi. Okay. No, I can see Roshi simply because of the fact that he did impact the rest of the show.
Mm.
Him training Goku and Krillin. I guess Krillin's included, yeah. But like, training them and his mindset and his ways it influenced Goku going forward. And you can see that even when he's fighting the Saiyans.
Mm.
Yeah, I can see that. That's Roshi's a good pick.
What about old woman for you?
For old woman,
Yeah,
influential.
I mean I have Genkai. I'm gonna be honest with you.
And yeah, you could take Genkai. I think I'll probably take Tsunade.
Okay, that's understandable. Yeah, for sure. She has definitely the most influence on the medical field and how it's developed. Like you don't see that many medical ninja. There's like they're there, but like I mean she's the epicenter.
She's the pinnacle.
She's the pinnacle. So I can
Without her,
definitely
people
agree.
will be dead. So
Yeah, without that,
yeah, that's why I
they'd
picked
be
Tsunade.
dead. So I can agree with that.
All right, all right, that's good. All right, so let's move on to the game section for today. Game time. Time for some anime intervention trivia. We're gonna do the multiple choice questions that we've done from the past. You cool with that?
Yeah, I've cool with that. Oh wait, before we do that, Rayleigh,
Oh yeah, Rayleigh. We got to count Rayleigh because we said Garp, but we didn't say Rayleigh.
definitely gotta be mentioned.
Based on the influence that, especially now when we're reading the manga and everything, and just seeing everything that happens after and as well as prior, and the fact that he trained Luffy, I'd say that he'd probably be even more influential than Whitebeard. But it's kind of hard to say. It's hard to say because he's always in the background. You don't really see that until we do touch upon it. But once you see like the inner workings and see his connections to everything in the world, then you could say, okay, maybe he is on that level. But yeah, no, that's a good call out. Good call out. Damn, I'm mad I didn't say him because it was Garp, and then yeah, that's whatever. But yeah, any more honorable mentions?
Not right now. Nah.
Okay, good. All right, so this first question, let's get started. What is the name of Shinra's brother in Fire Force? Is it A, Zo, B, Sho, C, Shu, or D, Ayato?
Show.
Sho, that is correct.
Let's go.
Well done.
Very nice. Thank you. All right. Who is Saitama's apprentice?
Go ahead.
Is it A, Tatsumaki, B, Atomic Samurai, C, Moomin Rider, or D, Genos?
It is Genos.
Very nice.
You know what's funny? My next question is a One Punch Man question.
Oh, shoot.
So I guess we just selected the same thing. That's fine.
All right.
It's related. You ready? What high-level monster did Moomin Rider try to fight?
Mm.
Was it A, Deep Sea King, B, Elder Centipede, C, Orochi, or D, Mosquito Girl?
A, deep sea water king. What
Yeah,
was
Deep Sea
it?
King. Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, deep sea king. Okay, yeah.
That's correct.
Thank.
Well done, well done.
Thank.
Okay, hit me with the next.
Next one. Who has the nickname Rain Woman? A, Katara, B, Noelle, C, Juvia, or D, Aqua?
Wait, Rain Woman?
Yes.
Oh, Juvia.
Yes.
Okay.
She is
Good.
the
I
Rain
didn't think
Woman.
about the first thing. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, but yeah, no, that's Juvia. She's the Rain Woman. Okay. All right. All right. Ready for the third one?
Yeah.
This is. I feel like this should be. What mermaid did the One Piece crew save in One Piece? Was it A, Sammy, B, Christy, C, Kami, or D, Bessie?
Kami.
Bessie. Kami.
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 Run it, man.
That was a simple one.
I have a hard one.
Yeah. This is tough. Okay. Where's it from?
Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, you already know I don't remember. Full Metal Alchemist. But go ahead.
What is the name of May's pet in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood? The tiny panda that's on her shoulders.
Oh my God.
Is it A, Chow Mein, B, Zhao Mein, C, Mei Mei, or D, Oreo?
I'm gonna go. Or no, I'm kidding. I'm gonna go with. Oh.
You gotta think here. Process elimination. I can run them back again.
I feel like it's either B or C. What was B?
B was Zhao Mei.
And C, Mei, right?
Mei Mei.
Uh,
You gotta lock in. You gotta hone. You gotta harness the power. You gotta transfer the brain waves, everything.
I'm gonna go with C.
Mei Mei? Wrong. You're wrong, bro. You're wrong, bro. It is Zhao Mei. It is Zhao Mei. There's like a English one, and there's an English spelling that I don't go by, but there's the actual spelling.
No, I figured it had to be either B or C. I should have said B. God damn.
Yeah,
Damn, it's been a minute since I seen.
I know.
It's okay. It's okay. No, it's all right. It's all right. Cause ain't no way it's Charmaine.
Yeah, and they don't shout me.
Yo. All right. That's good. That's good. You took the win for this time. That's good. That's good. But yeah. Before we jump into like what's coming out in this next season, the spring season, what have you been watching recently? Anything specific? Like what's been going on?
I mean, I've mostly been just catching back up on a couple of shows that were in the past winter season, and obviously staying up to date with this previous season is like with Soul Leveling and then Sakamoto Days. I've been keeping up mostly with that, and then going back to my list to see what I haven't actually watched yet. Like I know there's a movie I haven't watched. I can't remember what it was called. It was like The Princess and something. I don't know, but.
Princess No Pro. Okay.
But nope, not Princess of Fro. But I'm gonna go back to my list. Go into the files, archives, and check a few things out.
And I heard you made a my list. You made a Mal list.
I did make a Mal list.
That's good. So now we both have Mal lists. So we could actually kind of put them onto the channel so people could check them out, see what we've actually watched, what we're currently watching, and what we haven't finished yet.
Yes.
Which is good. You still in the process of creating it too?
Yeah, I'm still in the process of.
Because I know you were doing accounting and you were at like 300 and something, right? You're trying to get up there.
Yeah, I'm trying to get up there in terms of like all the animes I've watched, because I know I have to include more, but we'll be good.
That's good. That's good. For me, I've been watching, just like you said, I've been watching a lot of anime from this recent season. Obviously, Soul Leveling, Sakamoto Days, Apothecary Diaries, especially really, really good. 100 Girlfriends is definitely really fun, really funny show. Danmachi, it did stop. They took like a break, but then they came back, and it's officially finished. I actually have to watch the last episode. I think it's episode 15. Actually, kind of crazy. A lot of hands in that show. In addition to that, I finished Daima. So we're going to be having an episode coming up. Actually, the next episode, I think I want to do episode 30, where we discuss Daima in its entirety, like, the legacy that's set basically because of Toriyama and everything like that. Because I actually kind of enjoy the show, but, there's people who say otherwise. But I do want to hear our resident sound guy, JoJo's thoughts as well. So he's pretty big into Dragon Ball, so I want to hear his thoughts.
I can agree with that. Like, I do think it definitely has done better than even I expected. Like,
yeah, 100%.
Before, like I was just expecting, like, oh, okay, like I'm gonna check it out here and there, but now I'm like, okay, I need to check it out.
Yeah, no, I was like, yo, this is crazy. I enjoyed it, and it's only 20 episodes, so it's really not like you have to like sit there and watch like 100 episodes just to get to the good part. Nah, this is Daima's definitely something that you should sink some time into if you're interested in Dragon Ball. You're gonna love it. Give it a chance because I was kind of skeptical at first going into it, but finished it and I enjoyed it. Besides that, I've been kind of jumping back and forth between a few different things. I've also been watching Invincible because Invincible is really good. I actually watched the most recent episode this past week, which means the last episode comes out next week. I don't know when our episode comes out. I think it's the end of March, but um, by that time, Invincible will be finished. And what I'm saying right now is that Invincible is kind of crazy. The last episode was wild
Mm.
with all those marks, but it was good. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it for what I've been watching recently. There's probably some more trickling down there. Obviously, the Blue Box Romance I've been still watching. I have to go back and finish the rest of the episodes. But yeah, that's pretty much it. But before we close out the episode, I do kind of want to talk about the upcoming spring season because I do believe that, and I had this question part of our game, Fire Force.
Mm.
Fire Force season 3 is coming back, and big excitement for me. I know big excitement for a lot of people. It's been a couple years, but in addition to that, we have a couple anime here that I've never really seen before. Um, for example, Lazarus. I believe this is the anime that is supposed to be made by the same animators as was it a Cowboy Bebop?
Yes, Cowboy Bebop. It's the same people
The
that
same
made
story,
them.
the same story writers, I believe.
I believe so.
Yeah, because Mappa's the one who's actually animating it. They're
Mm.
the studio that's working on it. But I'm hearing big things about Lazarus, and I saw the trailer, and I'm getting hype, and I'm also getting flashback from Cowboy Bebop's sort of animation style. Very, very unique um, style that they have there as well. And I'm very excited. I'm assuming that Lazarus is going to be kind of like one of those stories where we're always going to look back at it as something that is different from the rest,
Mm.
different from the others. And I'm excited for it. I don't know how you feel.
Feel pretty good about it. I'm very excited as well. I'm hoping it makes a big splash, especially as like a new anime. I want to see new anime prosper
Hmm.
and build a name for themselves.
Yeah, I was reading the synopsis actually. It's supposed to take place in not 1900s. That's crazy. 2052. It's an era of unprecedented peace and prosperity prevails across the globe. What is this? The reasons this is mankind has been freed from sickness and pain, and he developed some. There's some neuroscientists that developed a miracle cure-all drug with no apparent drawbacks. And I'm assuming there's a bit of a situation that happens after that. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited for that one. But another comeback though, Windbreaker. Now, I'm glad Windbreaker season 2 is coming back because Windbreaker season 1 left us off on this like weird ass cliffhanger
Yes.
that I didn't really appreciate because it's been how long? Almost a year?
Yeah. About yeah.
The cliffhanger that I saw at Windbreaker season 1 was something that I would expect for a show that's taking a break for a semester. You know what I mean? For
Yeah.
one season, take a break and then come back the season after. You know what I mean? But that didn't happen. It's been well, I want to say like 3 or 4 seasons and now we're finally getting it. So I'm excited, but I just didn't like the way they cliffhangered it. So I don't know what you think about that.
No, that's true. I didn't like the cliffhanger at all. I thought it was poorly timed, but it for sure needed to close it out way better than that. And then you spend a year not doing anything.
I thought
So could have done better with that department. But other than that, solid anime. Not too bad.
another one that's coming back. I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. That's a season 2.
Mm.
I did watch the first season. I do remember bits of it. I might have to go back and watch it again simply because, it's one of those anime that kind of fell in beneath the cracks for me. Um, because everything else was coming out around it, so I didn't really pay too much attention to it. But I do plan on actually going back to see what's up with that. But besides that, there's a couple other ones here, but I'm not really like going crazy for them. Like I know um the My Hero anime, the one about Vigilante.
Yeah, that one.
I'm interested in watching that, but I'm so very passionate in what's about to happen in the next coming season of My Hero that like this is like all right, whatever. This is like one of those like I could see the past, I could see a side story, whatever. But it's not like gripping me. You know what I mean? I'm still gonna watch it, but it's not something that's like it's immediately I have to watch it now kind of
Mm.
thing. I could wait till it finishes maybe and then go and watch it all at once. Like I don't think it's gonna be that crazy, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Let us know. I could be wrong. But yeah, there's quite a few others here, but we'll talk more about those as we go on because we have a lot to watch and we have a lot to get through in terms of anime coming out now and anime coming out next season. So we're definitely gonna get to that. That's it. Anything else you want to say to the people?
Um, No, just be ready for the next few months. You know, a lot of good animes are coming out, and keep up to date with what we're doing, how we post, when we post, and enjoy it.
I agree. All right. This has been Anime Intervention episode 29. See you in episode 30. Deuces.